Welcome to the Trailer Island podcast. Yushmish.
You're getting so good at the cue for pulling up our microphones. Like right on the first strum is when you go.
I am. I've had like 20 something episodes to practice now.
Yeah.
Did I get the intro right? Use me. What's the line?
Jagamesh.
Jagamesh.
Yeah.
I'm also here. Hi, guys.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, we are the Trailer Island podcast, and it's a Steve and Alex show tonight. Woohoo!
Huzzah!
I have nothing to say.
Oh, and there's also Matthew.
Multiculturalism.
Hooray!
Yeah, Matthew, how are you?
I'm
Yes.
very, very well, actually. How are you two gentlemen?
Yeah, not too bad.
Hot.
It's been a very hot week on the island, hasn't
is
it?
Bull soup in here.
It is.
Oh, good.
It is toasty.
Yes.
Very, very toasty. Well, we are we travelling internationally today? I'm not sure how to qualify this.
No, we are, because the States are international. Yeah, we are. We're an international group of people.
It's fair. We're heading into the Amazon. Oh, not literally. Oh, how's that for a joke? No, we're watching an Amazon Prime
Original.
Yeah.
Original. We're talking about the sequel to a film.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the first film. We're talking about its sequel.
And the film itself gives itself a number of different titles throughout the duration of the movie.
Yeah,
but the one that's on the poster, I believe, is Borat subsequent movie film.
14 years ago, I released Moviefilm, which brought great shame to Kazakhstan. But now I was instructed to return to Yankee Land to carry out secret mission. I go to America! Borat! What do you say? No, it's not me.
Borat, come back!
People make recognize my face. I would need disguises. This man is sex criminal?
No, no sex criminal.
I will take this to be a fat like American man. Yeah? This is a good one. Where is his crumb? What is problem, officer?
Got somebody that's strapped to the top of your car. Just needs to sit in that passenger seat, boss.
Only men and bears are allowed inside car. I'm here to give my daughter as a gift to someone close to the throne.
I need dress with real sexy peels.
This is a bag that just goes over the dress.
They're nice.
I really like this.
Let us present Sandra Jessica Parker Drummond.
I want this one with the baby on it. I have a baby inside me.
Can you take it out?
No, we cannot. That's not what we do here.
I feel bad because I was the one who put the baby in her. Did you ever put one in your daughter?
No, I did not.
Where is everybody?
They're wanting everybody to quarantine so they don't spread this virus.
Could I stay in your home?
I hope quarantine never ends.
What is more dangerous, this virus or the Democrat?
Democrats.
It's killing some of the virus.
No, you can't see the virus.
No, it's still there.
If you think you see a virus go like that.
This makes the
That's all-
virus sleepy. And then when it's sleeping...
Your daddy has a lot to learn.
My daddy is the smartest person in the whole flat world.
While the risk of coronavirus remains low, as the president said yesterday, we're ready for anything.
Michael Penis, I brought the girl for you. Borat subsequent movie film. You fist me. Now I fist you?
There you
What
go.
do you prefer? You fist me or I fist you?
Same time.
Fist each other.
There you go.
What a splendid overview of that film.
It really is. I do not know where to start with this one.
Well, I think we can start by saying there's a lot in that trailer that's not in the film.
Yes, actually, there are definitely like punchy punchlines. Like there's some good jokes in there that
Like in the film, he doesn't get pulled over by a cop.
no, and there's no Harry Potter costume reference,
And
Yeah.
there's no pig farmer reference
no.
as well.
Whenever these sort of... It's not a mockumentary. It's sort of like a...
Oh, yeah, it's a mockumentary.
Hidden camera sort of...
But the cameras aren't hidden, though. They're definitely under the guise of, hey, guys, we're making a documentary. Do you mind if we sort of have you in it kind of thing? I wouldn't say they're hidden camera.
I think it's like a mockumentary satire because, I mean, he is a person that the people that the joke is being played on think is real.
But I imagine in this sort of format, there's going to be a lot of stuff left on the edit room for.
I hate
which
to,
obviously has
I hate
made
to
it into
think.
this trailer.
Yeah, which is possible. I think that trailer represents the film really well, what it is.
There's a lot of the film in that trailer, really, watching that. I mean, not that this film's going to have huge plot twists or anything, but you sort of go, oh, okay, they've kind of got the entire movie in there.
Well, the whole thing about going and taking his daughter to Michael Pence only happens about halfway through the film.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so it doesn't give away the rest of the film. What happens later on, where the thing that happens at the end is that she has an interview with what's the guy? Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer.
Yeah,
or something like that. I'm not au fait with politics, lines. But yeah, I think didn't give too much away.
Oh no, it doesn't give too much away. Before we get into the meat of this, if I may frame my own conversation from this,
certainly.
So the first Borat film came out in 2006.
Yes.
And it's now 2020.
How old are you in?
I was 10 in 2006, which is probably why I didn't see it when it came out. But I only watched this the other day because I had to watch. Well, I wanted to watch the second one. I figured it would make more sense.
Mm-hmm. You're a man out of time, and there you are.
And I was watching this thinking, this is so brilliant. Just, I mean, this, firstly, what's his name? Sacha
Baron Cohen.
Baron Cohen is very brave.
Cohen.
Yeah. Sacha
Baron Cohen.
Baron Cohen.
Sure.
Josh Whedon.
Sacha Baron Cohen. Yep.
Sacha. I'll just call him Sacha. We're close. So for the first film I read, he got arrested 93 times. So God forbid how many times he got in trouble with the law making this movie, in which he arguably does worse stuff.
Oh, I don't know about that. I feel like everyone sort of cottoned onto his
shtick.
Yeah.
But this film feeds into that, because obviously after that first movie, which worked because no one recognized, and that first film is brilliant. I just fell in love with it because people have no idea that he's not a real person. But with this one, it's actually worked into the plot that everyone knows him now, so he has to go and wear a few disguises and everything. And this film the first film I did not question that it was real. This film I thought, oh, surely people will know what's going on. But then you look at some of the very stupid things that people say in this movie and you go, oh, maybe they are clueless.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first one, you're right, that there was a lot more... he had more spontaneity and freedom to do things. In this, I feel like it was a bit safer. It certainly has its moments of hands on your face, but...
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny, like I don't know that was COVID worked into this script, because when they first mentioned COVID, there were only 15 cases in America, and I think it's fair to say at that point none of us really were taking it that seriously yet.
I think it was filmed in early 2020 because you can see the date on a screen at some point, because he goes into many shops to do things, and it's around March.
Yeah, but then he ends up in quarantine in this, and I'm assuming that happened for real because he had to maintain character. I don't know if when he's in quarantine, if that's staged or if he actually ended up with his documentary crew in quarantine with those people and he just had to go along with it.
Which scene's the one where he ends up in quarantine?
When he meets the two guys.
Right.
And I was thinking like, okay, of everything in this movie, is this the bit that's staged because they were shut down by COVID and they had to film something? Or are these legitimately two people that they've just asked, hey, can we stay with you?
I did struggle to... The film portrays that everything in this happened as it happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, you don't get it doesn't try to give you a vibe that this is set up, but you really have to sort of trust yourself that things are or aren't set up. Did you guys have that problem?
I definitely did for the second one, yeah.
This time around, absolutely. Like I said, people have conned onto the shtick, and if someone... The guys that take him in for quarantine, surely they had seen...
Because it's a bunch of set up cameras on walls and stuff, and I hate to think that he was there for like a week and you got about 10 minutes of a scene out of it.
What a beautiful way to sort of wrap it in, though. I'm like...
Oh, absolutely. But part of me was just going, how did they know? Like, what was... Like, they play it off quite well. I'm just curious to think if there was a version of the film when they first started making it without COVID.
Of course it did. I reckon absolutely.
It had to have been. Yeah. And they just went with the natural narrative. And
I agree with you, Steve. Like, they wrap it up so naturally.
Like we said, there was aiming for one thing. It's going to be this like political commentary on on Trump and his inner circle, and then they get hit with COVID and they've got to wrap this into it, and they find the two most sort of exemplary fellas to help them do that as well.
You know what? I felt like those guys just really wanted to help. They were so patient with him.
Oh, they were.
They were just like, okay, we understand you're different.
Yeah.
And they were just like, trying to help him because at this point, which we haven't mentioned yet, is that we're introduced to a new character.
Yes, quite well, actually. Yes, quite well
which
done.
I really, really enjoyed her character. And we're introduced to Tutar Sagdev, which is Borat's daughter.
Yeah. Played by...
It's Maria Bakalova.
She's Bulgarian.
Yeah. And I think she's now a naturalized American.
Okay. But
I don't know.
I was looking at her sort of filmography, and it's not extensive. I'm not going to call her an amateur, but like compared to the filmography of Sacha Baron Cohen, all right, and like she's keeping up with him in terms of improvisation. Improvisation the whole way through.
Let's do some improvisational comedy.
Yeah. She's keeping up with him like toe to toe. Like
she's very good.
She
actually sometimes got more laughs out of me than Borat. And don't get me wrong, like Sacha is terrific in this movie. But his daughter was something else. The whole playing it's from the first film and it carries over into this is sort of Borat's views on feminism and that kind of thing. Because he's obviously got a daughter that is just. They just don't... Obviously, it's satire. Like, their whole point is saying that this is wrong, but they do not hold back at all.
No, and I was incorrect about her possibly being a naturalized American. She's not. She's from...
Bulgaria.
So no wonder no one was able to recognize her.
Well, that worked out well then, didn't it?
And I just found, as you were saying, that her comedy timing and the things that she delivers in this film as well is just hilarious.
They both had an excellent rhythm.
And I just wonder how they went about sort of finding that, because that would have been difficult, particularly to play off Borat's character the way that she did. Like, she nailed it.
She did, but the one thing I would say is that if you imagine you were someone who was in the first Borat film and he turns up and you don't know him, and I find it would be much easier to believe that, okay, he's who he is when he's by himself than when suddenly you've got a double act in front of you. And you go, this feels weird, like it's staged or like they're just sort of riffing off of something.
And you think with a camera crew in the room as well, like surely something's going on.
I think there's a bit where he's trying to pay for an operation for his daughter at one point. And I was thinking the reception must surely think, no, these guys are just messing around kind of thing.
And then when she has the babysitter look after her as well, and it basically put innuendo that she is being sex trafficked or something like that, and it's like, surely you'd do something about that. But
there's a lot of inactivity from some of the people in this where they just go, okay, no worries,
because they just don't want trouble.
I guess that's the thing.
A bit of the point as well.
Yeah, I think I think you are right. That is kind of the point, that these people just go, they sort of tune it out, they just ignore it.
It's a commentary on their social culture.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Now the plot being that originally Borat is to redeem himself for the embarrassment of Kazakhstan due to the first film. And
he starts up working in a salt mine or something like that.
He's like working in a salt mine or something. He's brought out of it after, 17 years, something like that. And I realized that's real time how long it's been since the last film. And that first film, it was perfect timing for me. That was, I was the target demographic of that film when it came out. And in this, he is being redeemed for it. So he is...
Well, he's trying to be.
Trying to be. So saying, you must make Kazakhstan great again by delivering gift to the USA.
Delivering the cultural minister?
The cultural minister, which turns out to be a monkey.
Who's always referred to as being a genius.
He's also a genius monkey.
A pornographic star.
Porn star. And it's just, there's so many small, stupid, silly jokes in this that just make you giggle.
Yeah.
You kind of forget how serious the world has started to take itself. Yeah. And then all you need is some very well-timed groin jokes or whatever it may be. And you're just like, you know what? That's funny. I'm going to allow it.
They touch on it in the trailer, but the whole her accidentally swallowing a baby on a cupcake and then yelling to an an abortion clinic. No,
it's just a doctor. It's not an abortion clinic.
It's just a doctor.
It's just a doctor.
But they play. It's a big thing about in America where they have these women's clinics, and women go to these clinics for support because they've got unwanted pregnancy, and they get there and the doctor's like, "No, you need to keep this baby because it's God's gift."
Right.
That whole scene, I had to pause because I was in stitches. Like the way the wordplay that was going on there was just insanely good, and
But more worryingly is the doctor's just going. Instead of like questioning it further, he's going, no, I haven't done that, and we're just going to move on and pretend I didn't hear it, that kind of thing.
So his daughter Tuta has somehow has basically stowed away with the monkey in the crate and ended up in the US with him, and it turns out that they're just going to deliver Tuta as a gift to Michael Pence as a way of redeeming Kazakhstan.
The funny thing is this film was made in secret because obviously if you know that he's going around doing it, it kind of ruins it. Mm-hmm. But there are two moments in this film that I remember seeing in the news, which wasn't associated with it being a Borat movie, but was just, look what Sasha's gone and done. And one of them was him turning up to this Mike Pence rally. I remember that making the rounds of Sasha having to be escorted out kind of thing. And the other one was when he turns up to the rally further west in the Midwest, I think it is.
The mask rally they went to?
Where he's doing the country song.
Yeah.
And I remember that being in the news, not because they were making a Borat film, but because he had to get escorted out by security because they were trying to like find him and like beat him up because he really annoyed these people. So I remember those making the rounds in the news, but he managed, despite that, no one knew he was making a Borat movie. And I think that's kind of impressive.
It's a very fast turnaround. I think I saw there was a photo getting around the internet, maybe May or June.
Right.
And then they officially announced the film, I think it was either July or August. And a few days later, it's picked up by Amazon.
Right.
And, it's probably like a 9-month turnaround for this film. I think that's like a really, really good effort to get this out.
Absolutely.
And what I really liked about this, in this particular style, is the way they managed to build quite a decent narrative into it.
Yeah.
They actually tell quite a good story, and it at its core, I guess, is a social commentary, but it's also a father-daughter film. As gross and detestable as some of the scenes are. For example, when they go to the debutante ball.
Oh, God.
And, there are probably scenes in this film that we don't really need to go into detail about. But you just need to, just if you watch the film, just prepare yourself for that. But there was also the scene later on when, there's a whole thing throughout the film where she's got this guide to being like a Kazakh woman, and it's, it was given to them by the Department of Agriculture or something like that in Kazakhstan. And like all these things that a woman cannot do and the risks involved.
It's obviously just greatly inaccurate.
And the one scene that had me hands on head and just genuinely just aghast was the scene where Tuta goes and talks to the women's group.
Yep.
Again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I was just like, I can't. Like how, I think I had sympathetic reactions with people in the crowd. And just like, and that's the thing about this as well. Like I had a real anxiety about watching this. I was like, I don't know whether I want to go through the process of watching people go through being at the butt end of a
You don't like to see people
joke.
embarrass them.
No, I was just like, I don't know if I can handle it. But you know what? I reckon the film paced it really well.
It's odd. And the original Borat had this as well, but there's actually genuinely touching moments as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd agree with that, but
like when he goes to the synagogue, I thought that was like a genuinely
the film is actually dedicated to that woman.
That's a genuinely heartfelt moment, despite the fact that it's like it's played up. But the fact that Borat and his daughter eventually have a relationship, that's also a really, really nice way to sort of.
The fact that both of them can have a character arc in a film like this, where we've talked about films where character arcs are non-existent on films where the budgets are 20, 30, 45 times this. And in this, they have those little heartfelt moments.
They do.
Yeah, nice. punctuated by absolute explicit,
just
horrifying filth.
Just filth.
So, prepare yourself for that because,
yeah.
Now, this is film.
R18, isn't it, this movie?
It'd have to be. It'd
have to be.
I think so.
Because that's some of the language, not so much that, like we were talking about
yes,
doing The Gentleman at some point, weren't we?
Yeah.
And the language in that is just foul. But in this one, they don't swear nearly as much as they do in that movie. But it's just the time. And because, they are talking to what at least appear to be real people, it's shocking. And there were a few moments, I think, like you, Alex, I was going, oh God, no! Like, why have you done that?
Yeah.
Did anyone notice that it, as a comedy film, really does play into the sequel comedy tropes? Like it is absolutely again, probably exactly the same as the first film. It's a road trip comedy. It's probably on a grander scale, and this time, much like a lot of other comedy sequels, she's bringing along his daughter / son / co-pilot / extra driver / whatever on the trip, and we're going to try and get to know this character as well.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
It's not.
No, definitely not.
I definitely didn't pick up on it, but I don't. Yes,
the fact that you didn't pick up on it, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that. I didn't. There was just so much. There's
a lot going on.
I've only seen it the once, and I feel like I need to see it again.
I think, once the film was released, I saw a lot on the news on Island TV of the stuff with Rudy Giuliani and all of that stuff going on. And in the end, I felt like it was a bit of a blow up.
That scene is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to comment really on it because I'm not an expert on those very delicate matters. But I was very uncomfortable. But I have to agree, having watched it, I thought, why? Okay, this is very much a political thing. Very much so. I mean, this film ends urging people to go and vote.
Yeah.
A title card comes up saying, okay, now go and vote for the US election. Obviously, we can't on the island, thankfully.
No.
But
also, the ending is obviously rewritten just to be more topical for the time as well. I don't think they had that ending in mind.
You're talking about the run of the...
No, I'm talking about the conspiracy of the Kazakh government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually very good.
Yeah. So you forget about all these things. Like someone will go, "Oh, what about this bit?" And you're like, "Oh my God, of course, that thing happened in the film." There's probably, I guess, maybe 20 different skits, if you want to call them that.
That's I have to admit, having watched both of these films, the first one and the second one back to back. Yes, they have a story. Yes, they have actually pretty good character arcs, but they did feel like a skit film, which is not a bad thing. But it was kind of, okay, that little scene's ended. Where are we going next?
This sort of brings hope for more Sacha Baron Cohen stuff in the future.
But he's too well known. I have to admit, I did think, and maybe it's only because I knew it was him, that when he was playing Borat in disguise, his disguises were fairly obvious.
Yeah, I don't know how he got away with a lot of that stuff.
Especially when he had like the huge beard. And it's like, well, that looks fake. Like, how does someone think this is a real person?
You know what I want? I want another Ali G film.
I was just about to say, it's probably about time for one of those, I think.
Because I think Ali G's probably aged enough where people in America wouldn't know who he is. Because he did Bruno. That was the film that came out after Borat, I think. He's done an Ali G movie, a Borat movie, and a Bruno film, and now a second Borat film.
I've never seen any of those.
Was The Dictator based on one of his characters prior as well?
No, The Dictator was a standalone.
Okay.
The Dictator was never a character that he did.
Okay.
Every other film was someone that he did in his Ali G show.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was all came out at the time where, I was that target audience.
Yeah.
So I just lapped it up. But to be honest, like you watch it now and it's still just as good.
I would agree, and that's why I was kind of worried, again, that first film being as old as it is now, and also not having seen any of this kind of content before. I thought, wow, how am I going to feel about this? But it genuinely is, even in the present day, the first film particularly, very entertaining and very, very relevant, I would say.
Might I ask you, Matt, about the first film? What was the most surprising, exciting bit? Because Alex and I have obviously, we grew up in that stage where everyone's going, very nice, my wife, and Alex obviously still says my wife.
I would, yeah. Well, actually, now I know where that comes from. Every time all the time you've been saying my wife in a weird way, I thought, that's just Alex being Alex. So, no, it's Borat.
And you know what? Like, I just say it because it's just ingrained in me to say my wife that way.
When I buy her, I think. There are a few moments in that first film, and I suppose in the second film as well. And I think the reason I liked these films so much is that they just demonstrated the importance of being able to have a laugh, freedom of speech, and just have a joke. Like, you don't have to be offended by everything. I think Sasha himself, I think, is a Jewish person, but the fact that he does the run of the Jew or whatever it is, in the film, which you would imagine if that was released today, there'd be, and I'm sure there was at the time, an uproar. But you go, no, like, you look at it in context, and it's making fun of him, the character, being quite bigoted.
Yeah.
It's a funny joke, and it just reminded me of, like, it's good to be able to laugh and not take everything so seriously.
Which, of course, they bring back a version of that
they
for
do.
this
It's
film.
very good, yeah.
And it's very good. But yeah, I think you're definitely right. Like, you know, film has its time where it's relevant, and you could look back at it, and the horrible thing to do would be to judge it with current norms.
Yeah.
You know, you could look back. I mean, you could argue that it's never funny to make sort of jokes about race and stuff, but, you know, there comes a point where I think, you know, you just need to...
Yeah, but that's the thing is,
it's okay to have stupid jokes about things,
but he's not actually making fun of people's race. He's making fun of the people who are racist.
He's pointing to the truth.
He's pointing to the truth that there are these stupid people there, and I think in the first one in particular, when he finds the uni students on the camper van who are and they're very drunk and they're saying awful sexist and racist things. The joke isn't that behavior is acceptable. The joke is, look at these idiots.
Yeah.
That's why this film, both these films are so brilliant, is that it's drawing attention again to just this. So there are some people out there who are just maybe not educated enough to know what's right and wrong, but you're laughing at those people because they're so awful, not at the fact that the behavior is accepted.
Do you feel for them at any point, you know, that they are ignorant to what his character is trying to bring out of them?
I think all the time. Otherwise they wouldn't do it, would they?
I think probably only the genuinely, like, sincere people throughout those films.
Yeah.
Like the babysitter.
Yeah.
The Jewish women at the synagogue as well. They're obviously just telling their truths, and they're not obviously being mocked for it. But being a part of a Borat film, obviously, they've got to play the straight man in these sort of films, and it's so hard to do.
That scene, I felt like, kind of came out of nowhere, that all of a sudden he was in a synagogue.
I think the film's much stronger for it, but I agree, it's a bit like, wait, how do we get here?
But him walking in the costume, I was like, oh no, no, please don't. But it does seem a little bit like they've got these two little lovely old ladies in the synagogue, and he walks in this costume, and obviously it's set up, and they're sort of put there to.
But again, why is he there? He's there because someone in the American culture has told him that the Holocaust didn't happen.
Yeah.
And believed it. Like, when they said it, they meant it. They thought that it never happened.
Which is just insane.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But that scene is probably one of the sweetest of, you know, it's juxtaposed with this horrible imagery, but, you know, the honesty of these women, you know, faced with this, something they'll probably face their entire lives. You know, they're so welcoming and caring of this character who's obviously, they think is probably insane, but
he's a bit weird, just
a bit strange, but yeah. I think we're sort of at the point where if we delve too much more into social commentary, we're going to just get something entirely wrong.
Yeah, and I should say as well that these films really, they function on a bit of shock comedy as well. Like, you don't want to give it away, because a lot of the moments in this film was like a slap in the face. I was like, oh my God, like, what just happened? I can't believe you did that to someone, or I can't believe that they said what they said. It's best not to dissect it, I think, too much at the moment.
I'm trying to think, who would be the audience for this?
Oh, well, I know that the audience they're targeting are people who would vote for Trump, and they're trying to persuade them to not vote for Trump, is what I would suggest.
You definitely need to be informed as to what is going on
in America.
I don't know that a blind Trump supporter would see the funny side of a lot of stuff in this.
But I think, I know, but I think he might be wrong, but I think that's the people he's trying to talk to. Like, he talks to us and it's kind of preaching to the converted because we're not racist, we're not sexist or anything like that. But I think I think it's a very pointed message to those people of, hey, can you maybe wake up a little bit? And I don't want to make any kind of political comment. I know it's this very fine line, but I think that for him, for Sasha, that's the kind of person he's trying to target with this.
Now, in terms of historical reference, this episode is being released quite literally on the day of the 2020 US election.
Hey, we didn't plan that, did we?
We did not actually plan that. That is purely by coincidence. That's how this has turned out. Of course, if you're listening to this in the future, you probably know who the US president is now. But right now, at the moment of release, we've got no idea. So, but we're not here to make political statement. We're here to talk about film and enjoy it. I think it's a good time to perhaps give this film a rating. Do we want to think about what it would be out of?
Insect overlords. I'm sorry, but we were just talking about election. I just thought of Kent Brockman saying, "I've won. Welcome out, you
and
alien
toil
overlords."
in our salt mines.
I have no idea what either of you were talking about.
The Simpsons reference.
Okay, I need to watch The Simpsons.
Kenny Brocklestein.
What would be a good rating system for this film?
Baby cupcakes?
Baby cupcakes.
Baby cupcakes? All right, let's go with baby cupcakes.
Fat suits.
I like baby cupcakes.
Baby cupcakes.
That's good. That's good. Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Why not?
Okay.
I'm going to give this 3.5. I was in stitches the whole way throughout. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about it, but it's definitely gross out comedy. Yeah, it's just funny. It's if you like the first Borat, this is definitely in the right area for you. And I'm happy to hear that 14 years later that a new Borat film is just what we sort of needed a little bit as well. It's come along at the right time. It's very welcome. I'm happy to have it in my life now. 3.5.
Okay. I think I will always watch a Sacha Baron Cohen film. It's certainly not. It's no Battleship Potemkin. It's just in a way you could argue it's crap. But everyone's got to have fast food in a while. Just enjoy it. And don't judge yourself for enjoying it as well. If you can sit back and just enjoy a film for its stupidity, it knows that it's being silly. It's just trying to entertain. Yes, it's trying to say things. But, it's a well-made film with good narrative. It's got silly laughs in it. It's got absolute gross-out comedy. You need to be... an R18 in Australia rating for that is, I think, appropriate.
Yeah. Don't eat while you watch this.
It is absolutely going to offend people. It is going to make you laugh. It is going to make you cringe. And the female actress in this who plays Tuta, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
In some points, absolutely outshines the Borat character. But she plays so well off of him. It's absolutely flawless. In saying that, it is also a bit of a silly film. It knows what it is. There's some bits that's very hit and miss as well. But for me, I think just a solid. I'm going to give it 3.
Okay. Yeah. Watching this because this film's an hour and a half, and I had to watch the first one as well beforehand, so it ended up being what's that? 3 hours?
Yeah, about 3 hours.
3 hours. So it was quite a marathon of this kind of shock, gross out comedy for me, and I was kind of amazed really by the end of the second film that I wasn't sick of it. I definitely. So I'll obviously not talk about the first one. We're talking about the second one, but the first half of this second film, I was laughing throughout the whole way, and then I found that the second half, and it's done it deliberately, but it's so real, and it is so relevant, obviously, to today and what we're going through. I thought it's like. Comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yeah,
and I was like, no time has passed.
You're like, too soon.
We are in the middle of the tragedy, and so there were a few moments that for me didn't offend me. Like, they were funny, but I thought, I know I'll be able to laugh about this in a year's time once this is all over, or hopefully this is all over. But I'm amazed at the bravery behind the players in this, and just how the lengths they've gone to sort of expose. I think what is fair to say, a fair bit of bigotry and stupidity amongst certain communities across the planet. This is obviously a very American-centered film, but I think it is kind of relevant to sort of the whole human condition, perhaps. So I really enjoyed this. I will definitely watch it again. I'm going to give it 3.5. Actually, no, 4. I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
So 10.5. That is my maths.
It's very nice.
It's very nice.
What did you give out?
3.
Oh. Okay.
So 6.5 with a 4. That's 10.5.
Yeah.
Yay, maths.
Hooray.
If just before we head off, if you get a chance, dear listener at home, to actually research the work that goes into behind the scenes of Sacha Baron Cohen and his crew making these things happen.
Yeah.
They've employed people like ex-Secret
Service
Service people and everything. It is crazy. Almost those stories are better than the actual films.
I'm actually genuinely looking forward to a making of this film.
That'd be good. I would definitely watch that.
It would be absolutely awesome. So there you go. So Borat, it's a solid Borat 2 subsequent movie film. Even that makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's
subsequent
a good title.
Movie film.
It is a good title.
We've been the Trailer Island podcast where we compare films and their trailers, and that was Borat 2.
If you like the trailer, you'll love the movie because the trailer's actually great.
Yeah.
The trailer sets it up perfectly.
Yeah. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts. Head to trailerisland.com.au. There's a YouTube page if you want to find us there. You can stream our podcast episodes. God, there's 20 plus now episodes.
Terrific.
Which is kind of awesome.
You can stay in bed all day and listen to all of those.
Yeah.
In one sitting.
Don't forget to head to Facebook and send us a request if you've got one. Go, oh, guys, you should do this film.
You should definitely do Batman vs. Superman, the extended cut.
We should definitely do Mortal Engines. That's a fantastic
film. Can we do Mortal Engines, please?
No.
We're up for discussion, I think.
And as Transformers 2 at some point as well.
I think we have to get really drunk for those.
The Dark of the Moon.
We've been the Trailer Island podcast. I've been Alex. I've been joined by
Matthew.
Revenge of the Fallen Steve.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's the third one.
What's your name, Alex?
I don't know, but I will watch this film again with my wife.
I get that reference now.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This is a Narrative Network podcast.